Community Fridays at 6:30
yes,
with your host,
Michaeldseville
and Joel Simmons. A channel whose focus is liberty. A place where the lessons discussed and taught will create openings to a more open and freer mindset. A mindset where you may reach the height of your potential and excel. Here are your hosts,
Mike and Joel.
happen. We love to see you guys who do check in, whether you check in now. You're gonna have you on a community beacon. This is a great time to engage. This is an important episode for us. This is a very important episode. If you could tell by the title, this is our 50th episode. So we're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna have a lot of discussion. And it was crazy. We didn't even think about this when we named this entire month. We've been going over this entire month about time. And I mean, it's been on our mind, and I don't know about you, brother, but it's been coming up everywhere. I know it has something to do with our what is the RAS, the reticular activating system. Now that we started mentioning it, all of a sudden it starts popping up. But it's an important lesson, and it's important to pop up because we need to be aware of it. Really quick, let me get really quick into the housekeeping. Guys, remember to like, subscribe, and share. Love, depending on what platform you are. We definitely appreciate it. It's important for us. It's important for the algorithm. So if you can just do us that favor, we would really appreciate it. Mondays, what it takes, 9 o'clock. Check me out.
Get it.
Love when you guys check in. It makes it go really, makes it show. It makes me answer what you want to hear. So definitely come check us out 9 o'clock on Mondays. Guys, on Wednesdays, it starts with me. Of course, the brothers interviewing people from all walks of life, entrepreneurs, people in the community, etc. Who do you have coming up this Wednesday, brother?
Man, look at Anna. She is amazing. She's already got him up there. Joey is with us. This guy is
he looks excited in that picture.
That's the way he is. He's extremely. His program is called "It's Freaking Go Time." So you can only imagine. The type of guy this is. He brings the energy, hands down. You all are going to enjoy him. I enjoyed him. All right, so be on the lookout.
Yeah, that's the perfect slogan. Perfect picture for the slogan. He looked like he's ready to go. Culminating back to Community Beacon. It says it in the title, people. This is our 50th episode. 5-0. And I'm excited about it. In order for us to get there, we had to start. So I think we have a really quick clip showing our first episode. And is that what it is? I think Anna has our first episode queued up. Let's take a look at that, and then we'll get into the conversation. It's about time. Let's see this.
Happiness is the state of well-being, contentment, and you don't need them to tell you that they're sorry. You can just move on without it. Let it go.
Whatever it is that you're giving away, you're giving ownership of whatever you have away. They can put that mask on for so long that they don't even know that they have a mask on.
Because most of us have not walked in happiness.
There's certain people that you just can't. That's a lot of people. But you can be that light to shine.
That mantra. Today I will give something, I will receive something, and I will be better than I was before. When we have that ability to give and let it go, or to receive and take ownership, there's no telling what may happen. We may not always be able to see the results of other individuals. That's why it's so important for us to be able to give without grudge.
I remember someone say, don't loan what you can't stand. Because when you loan people something, you should go in there with the mindset that you're not going to get it back. It's better just to give it to them if you have it. But don't loan them. If you have something, just give it to them freely. If you don't have your standard, what's going to happen is you're going to miss out on the people who are willing to do business with you and the kind of people that you want to do business with you. Understand that. It's better for you. It is better for you to give away money than to give away time. Understand that. I understand it well. What steps do I need to take to be a better person today than it was yesterday? It would be 0.5% better. The point is, you're making the effort in order to be that better person.
Whatever we're going to do, whatever we're going to be successful at, it's going to come because
that looked like that was a little later episode, but my Lord.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My Lord. I think on the first clip, I looked like I was about to go to sleep for a second.
Man, you were deep into thought. You're just deep into thought. That's what happens sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Taking in so much information, we give so much information on these show, guys. You see that we started with fire and we've continued, and that's 50 episodes of it. And so I think looking at that clip, looking at where we are now, I think one of the perfect words to describe it and something that we can kind of talk about and we can touch on is the perseverance of enjoying, during that time from the first episode all the way to here we are at the 50th episode. You're in a different location. You are out here making it happen. You are stepping up ways in business. I'm doing similar things. It's perseverance. Anna said pre-service perseverance. Maybe I definitely probably said it wrong. So we're stepping it up. We're moving in a certain direction and just getting busier and busier and busier, gaining more knowledge and more knowledge and more knowledge. Overall, making it happen. Like this is incredible for us to. I mean, it's a lot different when you're the only one doing it, right? Because you're the only one that has to show up. So and guys, I'm gonna tell you, I'm that kind of person. I'm a solo guy. I can sit in a room in the dark all by myself for days if I need, because I'm just that kind of person and get to work. And so it's a little bit different when you're putting it together with a partnership, and then not only having a partnership, but having a partnership with a person who has a lot. We have a lot going on, whether it's family, whether it's business, whatever what may have you, and still be able to show up and show out each and every Friday. And I have to give the brother his roses while he's here, because that's exactly what he does. There's times when we are dead tired. There's been times when we were dead tired and we know we had to get it done. There's times when, you know, businesses or jobs come up. We had to figure out ways to get it done. There was times when we had family obligations, we had church obligations, we had whatever it is, we still found a way to get it done. The name of my show on Monday is What It Takes. This is what it takes. And here it is, without all the fanfare. We're not making millions off of this. We're not making hundreds of thousands of dollars off of this yet. Without all that yet, but still finding ways to get it done. And I, brother, I appreciate you for always finding a way, for always making a way in order to make this happen. Us putting our schedules together, us figuring it out, and of course, you got to shout out Anna, because Anna finds a way to make these things happen, to make the show for more people to engage with the show and to make it more presentable. Because these guys know, like, I don't care what it come out looking like. I'm just like, just put it up there. But Anna always has a great idea, so definitely shouts out to Anna as well. But and giving both of you guys your flowers on here on this 50th episode.
Yeah, for sure, man. She's really good at that transition.
Yeah.
I love that about her. She's very good at making the transition smooth. She shows up and she helps with the transition, and because of that, it makes it a lot easier for us. And, I mean, giving you your props as well, man. You know, it's always best to give the flowers when somebody has the ability to receive the flower. Anna says, "You guys making me blush." No, you should feel good, you know. And that's the thing about it. Like, we're living in a day and age when finally people are starting to get this understanding that, when you're developing something, you don't have to crush people in order to do it. There is enough for everybody, you know. And I mean, the time for that is right now. It's more than ever before. The time for that is right now, you know. And I think that that's very important. Looking back at some of those old clips of what we were doing, I was telling my wife, Mike, just last night, you know, she was wondering, you know, how long this has been going on. I was like, listen, we are approaching the 50th episode. Like, that's a year. We started this a month before, and we just decided on a date. We're like, we don't decide on a date, then it won't happen. And one of the greatest things that you can learn, I share that with everybody else that's listening or watching, is start where you are. This is one of the greatest things that I've learned. in this whole process, it's always, hey, let's do it next week. Let's do it next week. Let's push it off. No. Start now. Make the mistakes, learn from the mistakes, and then build. The time is now. There's no better time than right now. And I think that that's really important, because sometimes what we do is, and like we were discussing last week, Mike, is like we live in the past or we live in the future, but presence is time. And that is powerful. That's very powerful. Utilize that power to make things happen for you. When you don't utilize the power of now, you'll find yourself fading away before your own eyes, because time has a way of aging us. Time has a way of degrading us, right? We lose to time every time until we utilize time now. And I love it with affirmations. We talked about affirmations. Affirmations without actions are useless. But I love affirmations. So when you start to utilize affirmations, always use those power words that Mike was giving out either last week or the week before. The I am. So you don't have 20 grand in your bank account. Start to say, I am the individual with 20 grand inside of my bank account. I am the person that goes to my bank account and sees 20 grand. I am the person that goes to my bank account and sees 200 grand. I am the person that goes to my bank account and I look at it and it says 2 million. And do that daily. But then the next thing you want to do is you want to write it down. The next thing you want to do is you want to act on it. Create that plan. What is it that will help me to get there? You may not have a plan for 2 million, but you probably got a plan for 2 grand. Then with a plan for 2 grand, you just multiply that by 10. So now you got a plan for 20,000. A plan for 20,000 means you multiply that by 10, right? Now you got a plan for 200,000. A plan for 200,000, you multiply that by 10. Now you got a plan for 2 million. And it's like taking this type of mindset and creating your now, making your now so present that your time means something. It gains value when you add presence to it, right? Time is a gift. It's a present. So use it presently.
I love it, brother. I love it. I had a chance to, I just came across a Ray Dalio quote. Ray Dalio is a big hedge fund guy. He owns Bridgewater and Associates, huge hedge fund. I mean, you can't invest with this guy unless you have billions in your pocket. Like that, that's the type of person he is. And he said something, he said, and I'm going back to when you spoke about the time to start. He says, a lot of people may think I know a lot. He said, and that's why I have what I have. You know what I mean? He said, a lot of people think it's because I know a lot. He said, no. He said, because I don't know nearly enough for what it is that I'm doing. He said, the thing that differentiated me was I knew what to do with the things that I knew what to do with stuff that I didn't have. He said, that I didn't know. He said, I knew how to ask questions because I don't know. Because if you know everything, then no one's going to give you the information, take you to the next level. If you know everything that you need to know, then you're going to stay at the level that you're already at. You need to figure out what it is that you don't know, or what's going to take, and what you do with what you don't know. It was an awesome quote. And the starting of now, like we wouldn't get to 50 episodes, like the brother said, if we didn't start with whatever it was that we had. And you saw what we had. I think that you had a picture in the background. You had the logo picture in the background. I think I had a old microphone that I was using at the time, and that we said, let's just go. No wall wasn't painted, no nothing. We could have waited, and so that speaks to progress over perfection, right? That speaks to progress over perfection. Like we're not waiting until we perfected it. We're not waiting until I don't know what would you say to something happens to all the stars are aligned. It's like you gotta see it aligning. You gotta be there. Yeah. And you spoke about the the having a plan. I think a person needs to have a plan for all of those things. I think you need to have a plan for the 2,000 now. You need to have a plan for the 20,000 now. You need to have a plan for the 200,000. Like, have all of that now, because if someone dropped it in your lap, what's going to happen? If someone dropped 2 million in your lap and you don't have a plan for it, you don't understand the paralysis that's going to happen. You don't understand the wastage that's going to happen. Like, you should have a plan for those things now, and not only have a plan for it, but you need to act as if. You need to be in the being of someone who has $20,000 in their bank account. There's been times most people can't tell whether I have negative 500 in the bank account or I got 40,000 in my bank account. Most people can't tell. Most people just looking at me, just Mike is just Mike. I don't know. I may divulge that information to some confidants or some friends or someone, whatever. But for the most part, it's just Mike is just Mike. I don't know what Mike got, what Mike has. Maybe should I ask him like what? But you have to walk in that being of whatever it is. As far as I'm concerned, I'm a multi-millionaire, right? And most people, when they can't tell the difference, we don't know. He's just walking in his being. He's walking in whatever it is. Like, so I think it's very important for you to walk in that. If it's $20,000 in your bank account or $200 in your bank account, walk in the being. Be what it is, brother. And you know what? I thought about it because I came across I think it was it was an Instagram post or something, and you kind of illustrated on the Tenacity Foundation, guys. Go check that out. You illustrated the project, project, action, and manifest.
Manifest. Yeah.
So for me, the being is the projection part. Like, you have to project this thing. We were Community Beacon $1 million host from the beginning. We didn't have the background. we didn't have the fancy camera. We didn't have this, but you could sit us in a room with $100 million equipment, and we're going to do it. Have you even, a lot of us, so with that example in mind, have you even thought about that? That if, okay, you want to be this, I don't know, let's make something, a real estate mogul. You're a real estate mogul. That's great. Can I sit you in a room with real estate moguls and you go in there and you can act as if, or be, or project that? Because at the end of the day, that's the only thing that separates you, because I've been in the rooms with these guys, and it's always more than what you think it is. Like, you're like, man, before you get there, you're like, it's a bunch of geniuses in here. You know, like you hear about Ray Dalio, this guy's a multi-billionaire. You're like, this guy must know everything, but he's telling you that he doesn't know everything that he thinks he should know, right? So, that's my spiel. Go ahead, brother. I know you had something to say.
I think that's powerful, and that the whole process of this thing has really been powerful, and trusting the process. Y'all, trusting the process has been so much, because like PAM management, I was mentioning that Mike, to somebody just the other day, like PAM management is the reason why I'm here right now. There's multiple things that have occurred along the way, but it was like PAM management is the reason, like, why I'm doing some of the things that I'm doing, why I just had this conversation with the medical doctor, and a CEO and the head up of an organization, to do some business. The whole reason for that, for me, I can't speak for them, but for me, is because of PAM management, me like stepping out, project, act, manifest, and utilizing that, managing my life in that type of mindset. Along the way, I've done a lot of things. I've listened to advice from Mike. I've gotten advice from Jamie Villavosa. I've gotten advice from Rich Stolley. I've gotten advice from even Cody Martin was very influential. And I've gotten advice from books like Napoleon Hill's books, Darren, what was that? Darren Warren or Darren Wood?
Darren Hardy.
Darren Hardy. And reading these books and my Bible, big time. And I realized that I can be present with those books at any point in time, those people that wrote those books, I can be present. Like I can transport my being to them at any moment. I've done that so many times. Being in the Bible, I'll read and I will be transported into the time when David was running from Saul and how he, declared to his boys, touch not, touch not mine anointed and do my prophet no harm. Don't touch this man, even though he desires to kill me, And the thing about it is, like, I was there in that cave for a moment. And it didn't dawn on me until later on in life, after Pam management came about, that I could actually transport my mind into different timelines, to different time frames. It was all about my focus. It was all about what I was doing, my mental state and status at that very moment. And this is why that meditation can be so important, because you can transport yourself forward in the timeline to the point in the place where you are doing well, where you have succeeded. And the thing is you start to walk in that thing today as if it had always been like that. That's what it is. You take it, you go from the thought process to a belief. And once it's a belief, it's a belief because you speak it as if you know it is a fact. Nobody else has got to know it's a fact. But when you say it, you believe so much in that thought that it becomes a belief. Your heart beats a different way. You feel encouraged. You feel built up. You feel stronger. You feel wiser. You feel greater. All of a sudden, because of that belief in your mind, and when you speak it, it begins to take action inside of your life. And that's when you act on the action. Before you know it, you get thoughts that come into your mind. You get these hints. You get intuition. All of these things begin to bubble inside of you. And before you know it, you start to do these things. You start to create the plan. You start to write down write the vision and make it plain so he that readeth may run. You start to do all these things and then you run on it. And everybody else sees you running. They're like, hey, I see him running, but he looks like Indiana Jones in that one movie in the temple where Indiana Jones was standing on nothing. But then he gets some salt or some dirt and he sprinkles it. And it turns out that there was actually a pathway underneath them. But the architect had simply developed the pathway to look like the sides of the walls inside of this temple. So it appeared as if there was no path. But the truth was that there always was a path. And you look like you're walking on nothing, but really you're walking on something. Your faith has developed into a pathway and it manifests exactly what you're looking for. That's where we are. Yeah. The Community Beacon, 50 episodes later, manifestation of a thought that we had one day a year ago. This is it. This is proof. And so we manifest 500 episodes. Just wait and see.
Brother, beautifully put in beautiful words. I actually remember that Indiana Jones episode of when he, when they were afraid to take that step. Remember there was the one part where they didn't want to take the step. They thought they'd fall down and it popped up. You know what else? The other thing that happens is the person that you become as you go through as you put forth the work and you become this different person. I mean, because you're being this person, but then the mindset shifts that happens as you continue down the road. I had two instances of this happen this week. I was doing some role plays with a colleague of mine, and we were going over what they call NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming. So whenever you're reading a script, you'll see on the script it'll have these words in bold, and they'll have dots on it, and you're supposed to emphasize those parts. So for the sake of the role play, I was real cognitive of that part, and I slowed down and I said, the phrase that I was supposed to say the phrase. Afterwards, he was giving me feedback. He said, Mike, he said, you don't have to do that. I was like, what are you talking about? He said, when you get to that part, you don't have to slow down. He said, why? He says, Mike, because me and you have conversations throughout. He said, you do that while we're having these conversations. He says, it's been so ingrained in you from practicing that now it's just a part of the way that you talk. So it's like you automatically develop these things. Once you get the framework, of course. I want to get back to that because we got to talk about getting around people and models to develop the framework. But I had the framework and I walked in it for so long that it was a part of my being. Today we had another presentation, and I always do my listing presentations. And this young lady, she gave me a compliment. She said, "No, someone asked me about Toastmasters." I said they came at the latter end of the conversation and they said, "Well, what's this Toastmasters thing?" And a young lady said, "Well, Mike, this is Mike will be the best one to explain that to you." So I explained Toastmasters to them. And so at the end, she said, and she was talking to the other young lady who asked about Toastmasters. She said, "We're always in here giving feedback." He said, "I get feedback from all these different people, all these different coaches." They said, then all of a sudden, here comes Mike, and I've been in this group for almost 10 months. She said, I noticed immediately that when Mike got in here, the way that he presented the feedback, how he pointed things out, she said that this was just like, I was like, this is different. And now everything is, the framework is similar to how it is that I give the feedback. She said, I just noticed it. And so I brought that part up to say that I was in Toastmasters for so long and adopted the principles, the models, and the framework of it that I became this thing, and it's just normal to me now. So when I give feedback in the framework that I was already taught for 7 to 8, 10 years. And unbeknownst to me, but I was in Toastmasters for so long. So now it's a part of me. So it's like now at this 50th episode, guys, go back and then come back and check out this 50th episode if you can. Go back to the first episode, come back to this 5th episode, and see the adjustments that we made, see the frameworks that we attempted to follow. And now, like I said, you could drop us in a room with $100 million worth of equipment, and you're going to get this $100 million show that we're putting on here. You know what I mean? So but you have to go through it. You got to see it. You got to go through it. You got to go through it. And that's part of the perseverance, brother.
Yep, perseverance. Let's get back to that. So, like, while we're going through it, one of the things that we talked about in some of the earlier episodes was having a coach. We cannot leave that out. I don't care what kind of coach. I gave an example of mentors that I have that are in books. We just cannot stress enough of having somebody. There's 2 different types of mentors or 2 different types of coaching that you really want to have. You want to have an accountability partner, coach, mentor, somebody that is there to help kind of push you up. Like Mike is mine, especially when it comes down to this program, and I do my best to be his. It's like, hey, bro, I can't make it at 2. It's like, okay, well, listen, I can't make it at 3. How about 12? Okay, well, no, let's just go 2. And it's just like, it's not, don't do it. It's like, if you can't do it now, when? This is accountability. Yeah. We're going to do it. So just tell me what we have to sacrifice to get there. And so that is the greatest type of accountability partner, coach, mentor you could ever have, is somebody who can, 1, tell you that it's got to happen and I'm here with you. And 2, the next thing that they can tell you is, hey, listen, I've been listening to your story and it sounds like you ain't doing the right things. Let me give you a little something to help you out. Because every last one of us, none of us are like genius to the point where we don't need anybody else in this world. You need somebody to see your blind spots. So it's nice to have that individual that you can share your story with, and they can look at you and say, I love what you're saying. I love what you're doing. Let me tell you something. These couple of things, you can work on that. By the way, you're amazing. I love that. Because we need to be able to gain. And that's what Mike was talking about when he was referencing the whole Toastmaster piece. There's a little tidbit in there that you just don't get anywhere else. They call it sandwiching that response. The other type of coach is somebody who's already been where you are. And they have the ability to see a little bit further down the road. That's what I meant by mentors inside of your book, mentors that are at a higher status or a higher place or higher frame of mind, or have reached certain goals that you are looking to reach. They may be able to see the pitfalls 5 years down the road and give you a roadmap that helps you to avoid those pitfalls, or at least see them when they're coming. And then you can be like, oh, wow, that's that pitfall. That's that pitfall Mike was telling me about. So if I just steer to the left, my car is going to be bumpy and it's going to be a rough road. But Mike said that after such and such and such, I'm going to make it. That provides me with hope. And that hope springs eternal. That's what scripture says. That hope gives me the ability to believe that I can make it through that difficult situation. And believe me, y'all, believing you can make it through a difficult situation is 100%, I guarantee, that will help you in life. When you start to believe that you can make it through a tough time, all of a sudden you get power, strength, and you get wisdom from you don't even know where. Having that makes a difference. These are two different, and I don't care what you call them. You can call me a priest, you can call me a pastor, you can call me a rabbi, you can call me a friend, you can call me a mom, you can call me a dad, you can call me a coach, you can call me a mentor, you can call whatever you want to, but you need them two types of individuals in your life.
It'll make your life a lot easier. I can tell you that. It'll make us, because those quarter-inch shifts, I can't take like a slight shift. And we say that this is a line from real estate. A slight shift in the market can make a major impact on your investment. And it's the truth. A slight shift in the real estate market, whatever it is, the interest rate goes up a point, you better believe things are changing. If it goes down a point, things are changing. So it's just a slight quarter. It's a slight degree shift in order to get you there. And here's the thing: most of us want to cut down on the time, right? We want to cut down on the time it's going to get there. We don't want to try everything else. Now, oh man, I'm okay. I'm gonna add a little bit of frustration, because I know some of us, like, we hard headed. Believe you me, I was there. I thought I knew it all. I didn't need anybody. We got YouTube University. We got Google this. We can go this route. We can go that route. And it frustrates me, because I still see some people do it. Like, you just get this premonition that you're know-it-all. And I'm gonna tell you, nobody gets there like that. It just doesn't happen. Like, you're not really gonna meet anyone that just gets there like that. Just, a leaf in the wind kind of deal, or just trying all these different things. Because when we get back to time, we are just a moment in time. Like, when you turn around, it's like a flood. Like, these 50 episodes we could have still been doing nothing, coming up with schemes or themes and what we needed to do, and the right equipment, and it has to be perfect. And not only that when we set this bar for it, we feel like we can't even go below it. Like, there's so many things involved with it, when you can just have someone to tell you, and this is part of the hope, that it tells you that you don't need all that. Not now. Eventually, once you start doing X, and O, then you can start to do this and do that, and even better as you go along with it. Because I'm gonna tell you one thing about spending money: as much money as you get, you can spend it all. So they could have dropped $2 million. Or let me not say 2 million. They could have dropped, let me say $1 million. They could have gave us $1 million, and if we didn't know where to start from, we would have spent that in this year easily.
Yes.
Because there's no $1 million at the end. It's a lot of money, but it's a drop in the bucket when you have it and it's out there to spend, right? I want to say Mark Cuban said something about you can't outspend a bad budget. Like, so if the budget is put together poorly, there's not enough money. And Mark Cuban is a billionaire. You'll take all his money if it's a poorly aligned budget, right? So so the importance of understanding that. But now when we get the $1 million, we know exactly what to do with it, because we've been through these 50 episodes. Okay, we'll do this, we'll do that with it. We don't even need to spend that. We can do this, we can do that. We can move around this kind of way in order to make it more effective for it. right? So it's like you got to go through that, this trial by fire. You have to go through this thing, and it makes it a lot easier if there was someone who went before you, and there's a lot of principles that this person can give you that you can take with you.
Powerful, man. Powerful.
50.
I want to touch just a little bit on that shift piece, because that's huge. Like a 1/4-inch shift. What we are talking about, y'all, is compound energy. He was talking about compound interest and other things, but we're talking about compound. When you make a 1/4-inch shift, most of us don't recognize that we are making this shift in our life in this present time. And we don't understand that this present time is always changing. I think we were talking about it last week when we were like, the time is now. And then Mike said, now the time is now. Now the time is now. Because now is always present, but that time that you spoke it is always past. As soon as you say it, it's in the past. So the thing about it is like compound energy. The energy that we put out 50 episodes ago is what brought us here, but it's compounded at this point in time. Because like Mike said, we've applied paint, we did research, we learned something, we added new microphones, we started traveling, we created new business. Like what we did then 50 episodes ago is an inkling towards what we're doing now. And that's compounded time, or even compounded interest. It is the gains that we have benefited from making one simple decision to start now. That's huge. It was a shift in our life. We had to prepare people. I had to prepare my wife. I had to tell her, I said, listen, this is what I'm about to get into. I want you to understand that there's going to be times when I'm going to stay up late, or I'm going to wake up early. There's going to be times when these things are happening, or these things are happening. I believe that God will bring us through everything, because I've checked my 20 years in the past, and no matter what I've gone through, he brought me through that. I only want to change one thing. That's all I want to change. Instead of not doing the things that came to my heart and to my mind, the things that I was passionate about, or the things that I had a purpose for, I want to actually do them all. And what's the worst that can happen? So I fail. I'm ready to accept that, because I've looked back in my past 20 years ago and I recognize all my failures. The only difference is I didn't do all the things that I desired to do, and I still had failures. So why don't I just go ahead and do them? I'll accept the failure right now up front. It's coming. It's on the way. All right, let's go. Let's get it. Let's get it today. I want it right now, because beyond that is my success, just like 20 years ago. And so when I shifted my mindset, all of a sudden, Mike and I are doing a podcast. I didn't know I was going to be doing it. I had a desire. Here's the second thing. We compare despairingly. Mike's mentioned this so many times. I'm going to mention it right now. You look on YouTube, you look on Facebook, you look on Instagram. You can be looking at my stuff. I don't know. You could be looking at my stuff or his, whatever. But people look at the now and they don't know the how. And so they start to compare themselves to the now version of somebody who went through hell and high water to get there. And they don't recognize that that's what they went through. We have this desire for this microwave lifestyle where it's like, oh, just give me a frozen burger, throw it inside the microwave, I have it in 3 minutes. You don't become a millionaire in 3 minutes. You don't make $100,000 in 3 minutes if you don't know the process, if you haven't been through the highs and the lows. But once you know it, yeah, you can make that. You can do that. You can do it instantaneously, because now you understand the system. And once you master the system, the time is now. But comparing despairingly, it's a trick. It's all about time, y'all. All of it's about time. And time equals presence and power. Utilize your presence and you become more powerful in your life.
Love it, brother. Love it. And guys, we're going to end this 50th episode on that note. It's It's been a ball, man, and it continues to be a ball. We're going to continue to bring the fire. We're going to continue to bring the heat. Keep checking in. If you all have any thoughts, any comments, anybody who you think that we possibly should bring on this show to have a great conversation with, we're ready and open for those things. Yeah, we just want to keep pushing this thing forward. It's a community beacon for a reason, guys. So it does take community, and we're here, definitely here to do our best. And we appreciate you all. But brother, I appreciate you. I appreciate Anna for this 50th episode as we continue going down the path that we're going down, man. So definitely want that's my closing statement for the 50th. How about yourself?
I love it. I love it. And I like what you said. As soon as you said that, it just resonated in my mind as a community beacon. You know, I just started imagining like a round table and getting all of these different people that have the opportunity to shine onto the show and allowing them to shine also so that we can bring more light to the people that we serve. I love it.
Awesome.
I love
Awesome.
it. Here's to a new year, brother.
And this is our new year. Yeah, guys, we appreciate you. We're going to keep it moving. Thanks for checking in. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Community Beacon. Till next time, guys. We love you. Peace.